Hello, everybody. I want to do a short demonstration on how you can set up a railroad profile in RTMS. And I'm just going to take you to the very beginning. This video is going to be pretty raw. I'm just doing this to kind of give a visual. There is a user guide that's available on the website. You can access that through the Facebook page. It's all right. I'm starting to work on it, and I kind of typed it up really quick. So in this video, I hope to provide a better example of how you can set everything up. So that being said, this is the screen you should come to when you log into our RMTS for the first time. You're going to be asked to log in with Google, and then you should be able to click right here, and that should take you into the RTMS page. With one little side point right now, which is the approving access. I am working on how that will work. So it's possible that you'll have to request access, and just bear with me for 24 hours. I will get you approved to get in here and check it out. So here is the home screen. This is what you should be looking at when you first sign in. And as of right now, we should be able to scroll down to the bottom here. As of right now, there's going to be no active. Oh, I don't need help. So the first thing we'll do is we'll come down to profile right here under the quick access menu, and we'll pull that up real quick. As you can see, I don't have any profiles set up right now, so we're going to have to add a new railroad in, and that's fine. So we'll click new railroad. We're just going to call it the Ozark Valley Railroad. Initials are OV. And we'll just say Ozark Valley Railroad is a short line in Missouri. And then we'll click create. So now we have our railroad profile set up. That is the number one step that you want to do when you first come in. So bits of information here. So I'm going to go ahead and open. So now we have an active profile. And from there, we can back out. Okay, so after that, we're going to come down to background files here, and we can start setting up our various tables right here. Starting with stations, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can add one at a time over here, but you can also add multiple at once. And we're going to add in 3 stations for this railroad. So we'll have River Town, and we'll just say that's like the first milepost on the railroad. And then after that, we're going to have Farmville, which will be, we'll go ahead and say maybe milepost 8. And then finally, we will have, let's say, the town of Ozark. And we'll go ahead and make that milepost 15. So it's not a very long railroad, 15 miles. Over here, we have what's called the code. And this right here is the abbreviation for your railroad, your station code. You could go with like a 3-letter code if you wanted to. That might be the best way to do it. Optionally, you could also do like station numbers. Sometimes railroads use station numbers, especially like larger railroads where there's more towns than there are character codes for. So go FRM, yeah, and then OZK for that. So all right, so we got 3 stations right here. We'll go ahead and create all those stations. And then once we have that set up, we can go back and we're going to add some tracks in here. Again, we have an add multiple feature here so that we can add a bunch of tracks in. I'm going to say that at Rivertown, we're going to have a couple yard tracks. So 2, 3 yard tracks. We'll go with 3 yard tracks, and then maybe a siding track. So we'll just go Rivertown RTS for Rivertown siding, and then we can enter in. These are all going to be for RVT. And we're going to kind of do the same thing for all of these other towns along the route here too. So we have Farmville. Farmville will give 2 tracks too, and then at Ozark we'll give another 4 tracks right here. Okay, so I've added in some tracks now. Using the add multiple tracks, it's going to make it a lot easier to get things started out. We use a track code as just sort of a short form identifier for your track, and then you can put a longer name next to it. You want to make sure that you assign the track to a station, and then you'll be setting up your track type, which the only ones that matter in track type is spur. So the other ones are great for identifying different types of track and might have meaning later on, but as of right now, a spur track is assigned to an industry. This is going to be important for your auto clerk features and the movements on the railroad for cars being moved from place to place. This is going to be important. So if you have an industry track, set it up as a spur type. We're going to add one more in here. We have this Ozark logging spur. We're going to go ahead and at Rivertown, we're going to make a lumber yard. So I'm going to go ahead and just say RVL. I think that, yeah, we don't have RVL on there. So RVL, Rivertown lumber. It's going to be for that. And we're going to change this to spur so that it is set up as an industry. I'm going to go ahead and create all of these right now. And there they are. Okay, so now that we've set up our stations and some tracks, let's go over to customers. We're going to add in that logging customer and then the lumber customer. And click Add New. And then go ahead and put in the name for this customer. So let's say we have Ozark Logging Company. Then we can select a class code. If we do have class codes, we don't have any at the moment, but we're going to go ahead and add new. And we're going to go ahead and give this a 6-letter code. That's sort of the industry standard. So OZKLOG. Logging Company. So the name of the company, and then the code, which is going to be OZKLOG. Create and select. Assign the station. And then once we've assigned the station to Ozark Logging, we're going to see a track box pop up here. And it's going to show us any spur track located in the station for Ozark. So we're going to have 2 available right here, the Ozark House track and the Ozark Logging Spur. We're going to go ahead and click Ozark Logging Spur. We can put notes down here if we wanted to. We don't need to, so go ahead and click Create. And go over to class codes here, and we can see that Ozark Logging has also been added to our class codes things, but we could also just add a class code independently if we wanted to. I could go in here right now and click on... let's say we're going to have the Rivertown lumber, so RVTLUM for a code. Just put Rivertown lumber, if I can not fat finger it. There we go. Click Create. So we have created a class code, and we'll go back to customers here. We're going to add Rivertown lumber in. Rivertown lumber Company. And this time we can select from the class codes. So we'll just pull up our class code that we made previously and then set the station for RVT. As we can see, we have 1 track that is set up as a spur track already. That is the Rivertown Lumber Company. We'll go ahead and select that. Click Create. Now we have 2 customers, and both of these are going to work together. So that'll help us for the next step. All right, so we've set up our stations. We've set up some tracks. We have a couple customers. And let's go on down to, actually we have class codes too. Let's go on down to equipment profiles. So in equipment profiles, this is, going to be the beast for a lot of model railroaders who have thousands of rail cars. But basically, you're going to have a few different ways to enter in your rolling stock fleet. And I get it. At the start, it's going to be a pretty big task for some people. Hopefully, a lot of people are keeping like a roster and like a spreadsheet. And if you do, then your life is going to be so much easier at this point. So anyway, we have equipment. We have a few different ways that we can add equipment in here. We can also take equipment out. So at the very least, later on, if you decide you want to, cut out and not use RTMS anymore, you can export your entire fleet offline, and that'll make your life a lot easier later on. So we have the add single option right here, and you can just put in one car at a time if you want. This is probably something you'll do later on once you've, done the bulk editing of the bulk entry of your fleet. Add multiple, you can go this route right here, add in a bunch at once. You can also paste your information up here if you want to copy paste. And then we have import CSV. So this is going to be super easy, make life a lot easier on you. Let's go to import CSV. All right, so luckily I have a spreadsheet with my rolling stock on here already that we're going to import into RTMS. And there's like 10 different columns right here. The first two are pretty self-explanatory, the reporting mark and the car number. Then you have your car type right here, and then the AER type, which this is going to be what appears in your knockdown, your KD column in your yard inventory or on your switch list that you print out. And then from there, we've got the length and the capacity of the car. This will come into play when you're looking at like track lengths and all that, which we'll worry about that later on. Not super important at the moment. Home road. So this is like the owner of the car, but home road is sort of an open field. If you wanted to possibly use this as like a pool ID or something, you could set it up that way. And then we've got the default switch to and the destination name, destination station. So these are important. This is going to be where it's sort of your return when empty. So when a car is empty, RTMS considers that a car without a waybill. A car that's loaded in RTMS is a car that has a waybill attached to it. So when you add a waybill, it loads the car, and when you take the waybill away, that empties the car. When you empty the car, the switch to is just going to be blank unless you add something here. So most of the time in like a natural cycle of a rail car, you're going to have like a return location for that car once it's emptied out. That's either going to be to like the railroad to reassign to a different place, or it might be assigned to like a pool to a customer that is going to take the car back and then reload it and ship it back out. That is quite a common practice in the industry. So we're going to do that with our lumber cars. So I can just go ahead and enter that in right now, the OZK LOG. This is going to be where the car goes back to. And we'll just go ahead and fill all of that in. The station as OZK Ozark, just like that, the OZK dash and then Ozark for the name. And then once we do that, the note section, we could put stuff here if we wanted to. Well, we can say log or logs and then enter all that in there. All right, so let's work on importing this information into our RTMS profile. To do that, we have our spreadsheet right here. I'm using Google Sheets, which is like a free version of Excel. and it works the same way. It's going to give you the same result. So anyway, once you have your stuff set up in your spreadsheet and you're ready to move it over, go ahead and go down to download. You want to turn this into a comma separated values, a CSV file, which we're going to do right now. I can go into my RMTS and import a CSV. Downloads, there it is, open, and then it's importing. Okay, so after we've imported from the CSV, we now have all of our cars entered into the system right here. So now we can actually start going in and populating the yard with these cars. So as of right now, there's not going to be anything in our yard because everything is currently offline. We can change that though. So we can go to interchange now. Every car is currently in the offline state. We're going to bring them inbound and set them up to different locations. So we'll just go ahead and choose the Ozark 1 track for this, and we can start importing these or interchanging these cars into our system. Grab a few of these TTZX cars. Maybe we'll skip the coal hoppers for now. Add in our locomotives. We'll add these Ozark Valley boxcars in there as well. And then we can bring in all 19 cars. We have our track and station already selected. Make sure that is set, and then you can click bring in 19 cars. All right, so now we're looking at the manage yard screen, and you can see these are all the cars that we just interchanged into our railroad. So now we have the cars that we were talking about earlier that are going to go to Ozark logging, and they have the OZK LOG class code right now because they're all empty. We know they need to go to the Ozark logging company, and we can go ahead and just move them there right now. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up. So we're currently, I think we're at Ozark Yard already, which makes things a lot, let's see. Yeah, we were at Ozark 1, so this is going to make things a little bit easier. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move these cars to Ozark logging. This will be a placed at customer track event, and then we can hit confirm. And we now have the cars at Ozark Logging Spur. Okay, so we've got cars spotted to the Ozark logging track. Now we can go ahead and load the cars with a waybill. So we'll go back into manage yard here, and we do have our yard summary that we can just easily go down and click on the track we want to work with. Here we've got the 4 cars that we spotted, and we can go ahead and click the cars with these check boxes here on the left. I can click the whole track if I want to select the entire track, but I just want to find one car here for right now. We're just going to start with this first one. And when you select the car, a series of options will pop up at the top here, and we have load as one of our options. We're going to go ahead and click on that. We got 2 different things we can go to. This is going to be the load with pre-made waybill is going to be your templates if you have any templates saved. We do not at this moment. And then we got create new waybill. We're going to click this to create a new waybill. And then we've got all of our waybill options right here. If you want to save your waybill as a template to apply it to other cars later on, which I recommend, it's going to make your life a lot easier, you can go down to the bottom right here and click Save as Waybill Template. Now that we've got that selected, we need to name this waybill. Do this something that is going to be, that's going to make sense to you and be identifiable later on. So in this case, we have cars that are coming from a logging industry going to a lumber yard. So we're going to say logs to Rivertown. Pretty self-explanatory. The origin station is Rivertown. The origin shipper is the Ozark Logging Company. And then the destination is going to be, oh, I messed that up, excuse me. All right, so we got a couple options here when we load a car up. You can click this first option right here, which is going to allow you to add from a template. We don't have any templates at the moment, but we can make one. And we're going to create a new waybill, which is your second option. So this works if you want to make a single waybill, like a one-time use waybill. Otherwise, you could make this into a template. So when you do that, you want to go down to the bottom here and make sure that you have this save as waybill template checked off to save it as a template. Then you're going to want to give it a name. Make it something that you're going to recognize later on, something that makes sense to you, or selecting for other purposes, like adding from a template or using auto clerk later on. So we're going to go ahead and say logs to Rivertown. Pretty self-explanatory. The origin station is Ozark. The shipper is Ozark Logging Company. Destination station will be Rivertown and the Rivertown Lumber Company. And then we've got a series of like default commodities right here that we can choose from. I'm going to go ahead and just choose lumber. And then the class code, which is going to be Rivertown Lumber Company, which is right there. And then we can click create and load. And now we have a loaded car, which is going to show up on your switch lists. Let's go ahead and try to print a track list out right now. So this is what your operators will see when they get a switch list for a track. And so you're going to say, oh, go switch Ozark Logging Spur, and you'll give them a switch list, and they're going to say, oh, okay, I see line 1 here is a load for Rivertown Lumber. That's the car that we need to pick up. And then they can go ahead and, follow those instructions. Okay, so now that we've loaded that one car, let's go ahead and load the remaining cars. So we'll select the other 3 here. This time we should have a template loaded. And we do, logs to Rivertown. And we're going to go ahead and load the remaining 4 cars. There they are. And then let's say we want to move these cars to Rivertown. So we can select all 4 of them now and click move. And then we have our choice of station to move them to, which will be Rivertown. And the track, we'll go ahead and say Rivertown Lumber is where we've moved the cars to. So confirm the move. Okay, so now that we've moved the cars over to Rivertown, we show them here at the Rivertown Lumber track. We can go ahead and select all of them. Let's say they are now all empty. We can click all of them and select unload. We're going to release 4 cars. And now we have our empty cars. All right, so that'll do it for today's video. As you could see, within just a few minutes here, we were able to set up a functioning railroad in RTMS, able to load and empty cars out, add stations, tracks, and bulk entry for rolling stock pretty quickly. And that was sort of the goal of this video. And then in the next video that I do, I will go into more in depth about interchange, managing trains, work orders, and auto clerk. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.